Hello, welcome. My name is Tracy. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in Australia. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is a really exciting day because Stampin' Up's Occasions catalogue is now live. This is the Occasions catalogue and this is the Sale A Brations catalogue. So if you're not already aware, during Sale A Brations, which is January, February, March, for every $90, which that's the figure here in Australia, you get to choose an item out of the Sale A Brations catalogue. With exception, there is 2 items in there that is $180 spend, but everything else is for every $90 you get to choose an item, which there is some really great products in here. So for today's card, I'll bring that in, I'll just quickly show you. This is the one for today, and it's using a celebration item as well as a couple of items from the Occasions catalogue. So I'm just going to show you in the catalogue because we can show you inside now. The first item that I want to show you that we're using is on page 28. It is the rectangle stitched framelit dies. Now these are 13 dies in all. These are going to be really popular. It is part of a bundle with the Amazing Life stamp set. And with buying the bundle, you save yourself 10%, so I highly recommend you doing that. Here are the dies here. So there's 13 stitched dies. Now Stampin' Up have really thought about this really well. These dies actually stitch on both sides of the cut edge. So let me just show you. I cut one before. Hopefully that's not shining too much. I have cut just a rectangle out of a piece of cardstock, and not only does it leave a stitched edge on that negative piece, but it's also stitched on our cut piece. So we can use both pieces and they've both got stitching on them, which I think is a really great feature. With 13 different dies in all different sizes, there is so many different opportunities for this die set. So I think these are going to be extremely popular. The other thing that I wanted to show you from this catalogue that I've used for this card is a new background stamp, and it's called Crackle Paint. And that's on page 44. I'm going to bring that one in. And I really liked this stamp because I think there's so many different ways you could use this, because to me it sort of looks like an animal's hide as well. So I think that's going to be great to see some samples with that as well. Stampin' Up are now only producing in cling stamps, so we're not going to be able to buy them in the wood mount anymore. But we're still going to have background stamps, which is great. So that was the other set that I want to show you. And then I just want to quickly show you the Sale A Brations item, which is the key for this card. We're using the Home To Roost. So this is a free set for every $90. So I spent $90 and I was able to choose this one for free. This is the set here, and I love this set. It's a rooster with some like wheat background, and then we've got some really great sentiments there as well. Okay, so let's get started. So I have my kit already cut up and ready here. You can find all the measurements and supplies over on my blog, and that's in the description of this video. There is also a link to my online store where you can purchase all your Stampin' Up supplies if you're in Australia. And if you do place an order, because I would love to be your demonstrator, please use that Hostess code for this month. So the other things that we're using besides the stamp sets and the rectangle dies, we're also using the stitched shape framelits. These are a staple, and I think everyone should have these in their stash. We're using one of the circle, the second largest circle dies. I'm also using the classic label punch. I really like this punch as well. And for the inks, we have Balmy Blue and Memento. And I'm also colouring in with these blends, the stamping blends. And I have quite a few here. I have Mango Melody Light and Dark, Daffodil Delight Light and Dark, Pumpkin Pie Light and Dark, Cherry Cobbler Light and Dark, Crumb Cake Light and Dark, and Basic Black in the Dark. Now you can get away with just using either the light or the dark depending on how you would like to colour in your rooster. That is perfectly fine as well. So to start off here, we might actually just do all our stamping and then we can bring the big shot in and do all our die cutting. So the piece of Whisper White here is what we're going to need, and we're also going to need this blue for the time being. And I'm going to bring in my Crackle Paint stamp set. And I'm just going to ink that up in the Balmy Blue. Now what I've done is I've just got one sheet of Balmy Blue. We're going to stamp that with the Crackle Paint, and then we'll cut that down with the rectangle dies. So I'm just going to place that piece of Balmy Blue down, and I'm going to bring in a piece of just old paper, and I'm just going to place that on top and just push that down, making sure I'm not moving it around. I've kept my finger on it so it stays in the right spot. But I want to make sure I get that image everywhere. You can also use the black of your acrylic block as well. That works as well. Okay, let's pull that up. Beautiful. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp with the Memento Tuxedo black ink. I'm going to stamp my rooster. And we're just going to fussy cut him out once we've coloured him. So I'm just going to place him over here. And I'm also going to do my wheat or reeds, whatever you want to call that. So I'll stick that under there. And stamp there just like that. And while I have that Memento out, I'm just going to bring in a piece of crumb cake, and we're just going to stamp the Just a Note down on that. So there's not a lot of stamping on this one. This is a pretty quick and easy card. Beautiful. So what we might do now is I might colour in the rooster. So I'm going to bring in all those Stampin' blends. I'm going to colour in the ground, just that crumb cake. So that's the dark one. Now I'm just going to bring the light one in. The next one I'm going to do is the Cherry Cobbler, and I'm just going to do the top. And I know that has a name, and I probably should have looked that up before I came on. And just underneath as well. I just want to bring that dark one in as well. Now what I found with the body, I found it easier to do the Daffodil Delight in the middle first. So I have my light one here. And I'm just going to colour in around the middle. That light one back in. I'm just going to go over those two to blend them slightly. Then I had the the light Mango Melody. I'm just going to do a little bit down here. bring it down a little bit into the Daffodil Delight. So I'm just going to bring in a little bit of the dark. And then the dark pumpkin pie. I'm also going to bring in the light cherry cobbler, just for down the bottom. Now for this one I've done more lighter, using the lighter blends, whereas for this one I use the darker colours. And to do a bit of a variety. And I just want to shade in those darker areas with my dark. Beautiful. So with the tail, starting off with the lighter one, so I have my Daffodil Delight, and I'm just placing colour down, and then I'm just coming in with Pumpkin Pie, placing a bit of colour on top. I don't want to take over all that Daffodil Delight. And the last one is Cherry Cobbler. Great. Now I'm just going to bring in the light crumb cake and just go over the wheat, just to give it that little bit of colour, bit of extra detail. So that's all that colouring. So I'm going to bring the big shot in now and we can do all our die cutting. So we have our crackle paint. And for this one I've actually used the second largest on the smaller side. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut 3 of these out. So run that through 3 times. I think I need to put new mats, cutting mats down. So there's our 3 cutouts. So bringing in the second largest circle stitched shape framelit, we're going to cut out those, the wheat. I think I'm still in holiday mode, my brain's not working very well. that has that one print cut out. We're right with our scissors, so we can get rid of it. So with the sentiment, it's just cut out with the classic label punch. And we're also going to cut out a piece of cherry cobbler just to lay underneath the sentiment. Let's bring in all our pieces. So all our pieces, I'm going to fussy cut out this gorgeous little rooster. And I'm going to leave a white edge around. And when you're fussy cutting, what you need to do is move your piece of paper with your left hand if you're right-handed. You're moving it around. You're not really moving your scissors. You're keeping scissors in the one area. And you're cutting with the same piece of the blade on your scissors. Using that bottom bit of the blade. This set actually reminds me of the chick set that was in the Sale A Brations catalogue last year. So they've stayed with the chick theme, but gone with a rooster this time. So I'm excited to see what people do with it. So I think it will be another popular set just like that chicken set. So I hope everyone had a good Christmas and New Year's. Happy safe time with all their family. I hope everyone got a little bit of rest as well. It can be a stressful time of the year. Okay. That's the rooster cut out. And I've just looked, I didn't colour in his face, so let's colour in his face. Do the light pumpkin pie. Beautiful. So for this one, I thought what I'd do I'd have a white background on the card and then stick these on top. So hopefully that looks all right. I haven't done one previously, so I think what might look better is if I stamp the crackle paint on the Whisper White in the balmy blue. So let's see if that looks any better. Bring the crackle paint back in again. I liked the card, it just sort of looked a little plain, so if this doesn't work, it doesn't matter. I'm going to stick that card front down. Bringing that bit of paper back in. Fold and score the card base. Yeah, not really a fan, so I'm gonna take that back out again. You can please yourself if you did like that. So on the back of these ones, I'm going to pop these ones up with some dimensionals. So we're just going to go with the plain. I think the white just stood out too much. Maybe if the background had been stamped off first and it was like second generation, maybe that would have looked a little bit better and not so bright. Should we try it? I could turn it over. Let's try it. Gotta try and get it on the right spot. Taking the dimensional backings off this one, so I've just got to be careful. What do you think of that one? Actually, don't mind that. So let's try doing that one. And glue this one down. I'm really interested in what you guys think, whether I should have used it this side, the other side, or not at all. Let me know. I like that background. Look how pretty that is. I don't know how well that shows up in the camera. Oh, there you go. Very light. One in the middle. Now the idea is not to press it down until you've got them all in the right spot. Beautiful. And I'm going to glue this one straight down onto that crackle paint. So just like that. I've just looked at that, I've actually stamped it. I'm going to fix it. So because there's glue on that, I've just got my silicone craft sheet down so it doesn't stick to anything. Let's bring in the memento back in again. I hope it doesn't take me too long to get back in the swing of it. This is terrible. Sorry about this, guys. Let's colour these in. Glue this down again. A lot better, doesn't it? It definitely needs to be filled out a little. We're going to pop up this gorgeous little rooster. I have a new sheet of the mini dimensionals because that's perfect with these little tiny images. You can cut up your dimensionals as well, which is what I did for a long time, but I really like these mini ones too. Now, because this is on Whisper White cardstock, you do want to make sure that it's protected well. You could always attach another piece of cardstock behind it to give that extra support. That works as well. And if you're not going to do it, just make sure you've got plenty of dimensionals so it doesn't sag. You go to all this effort to make a beautiful card, and if it sags, it just wrecks the card, I think. So, okay, let's take all the backings off. Place this down. And then our sentiments that we've punched out, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue the cherry cobbler down onto the crumb cake. And I love these two colours together, the cherry cobbler and crumb cake. Real earthy colours. And I'm just going to snip off so the edges are at the same there. And this one as well. There we go. And I'm just going to glue this one straight down. And the only thing left to do was to put a rhinestone, a basic rhinestone down. Just in that bottom corner there. What do you guys think? The original or the one we've just tweaked? I don't know. I like them both. I like the simplicity of this one, but I like the extraness to this one. So leave me a comment and let me know. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to head over to my blog for all the measurements and supplies, and you can check out my online store in the description of this video for your Stamping Up orders. If you place an order through me, I can send you out an occasions catalogue and a celebrations catalogue as well. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a great day. Bye.